girl Sunshine. It's Tuesday, celebrating life with Sunshine. Well, I have a personal friend in the house, literally. So we're going to go ahead and chop it up. First, happy Tuesday, new week, new goals, new mindset. Let's go, let's get it. So introduce yourselves for them.
I am Dr. Nicole Ferguson.
You heard her say doctor, okay? Doctor. Okay? So go ahead. And so when you say doctor, what are you a doctor in? Let them know.
I am a doctor in health communication, so I have about 15 years of mental health research. I'm also an advocate, and I was so into mental health that I went back and obtained a second master's in marriage and family therapy. So now I am a practicing clinician in the state of New York.
Okay. Now, she gave you her credentials, y'all. She gave you her credentials. On top of that, aren't you on the news sometimes in the morning?
All right. I'm on AM Buffalo Wellness Wednesday, the wellness doctor. So I have been doing that for the past 2 or 3 years. Particularly, I started during the pandemic, giving people tips, advice, encouragement during the difficult time that we all went through. So,
yeah, that pandemic, boy, it helped release things that was held up, bound, and everything else. And some other things. And it also caused a lot of distress. Like, seriously, you stuck in the house with this person or these kids and everybody all for that. How long was we mandated to stay?
It was a minute. It was some weeks there. And even when we tried to get back to normal, it seemed like it was not working for at least the past 2 years. So people were still in the house. There was an influx of anxiety, PTSD. There's also like a lot of social anxiety as people are trying to navigate into public spaces again, with COVID being one of the worries of gathering in large groups. And we're still kind of somewhat there, but I think people are kind of getting back to somewhat normal.
Listen, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all like I always do. I was happy when they said 6 feet because you don't need to be up close on me. You don't. Like with the shopping carts you want to ram, I'm like 6 feet. Like,
so I'm an introvert, so I actually like being in the house and working from home. But I mean, at a certain point, I was like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to do Zoom meetings all day. So I was happy to get back out there, but it was a lot. It was definitely a lot.
See, I like people, but then some days I don't like people, and I don't want to be around people because we all need to step back and just need a downtime. Like this weekend, I was hardly on social media. I was just like, I'm over it.
Like everybody needs a social media break. It's top tier self-care.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So let's talk about this book. Name it. Say it again.
It's Unstoppable Joy, The Art of Finding Hope, Healing, and Happiness. I actually wrote this book years ago before I became a clinician, based upon like my own personal experiences with depression, and just how I found joy. Unstoppable joy doesn't mean that you're not going to have your bad days. It doesn't mean that joy is going to be consistent, but it's really about finding joy even in the moments that are not so joyous, and also kind of staying true to yourself and knowing what you need. Like that level of self-awareness helped me because a lot of my depression was like trying to fit in with what society wanted me to do, and I found that I have to find what works for me. Even self-care is really what works for me.
Yes, girl, listen, I got over society and how you're supposed to look and how you're supposed to talk and how you're supposed to move and operate, and like stop it. Or you can't be this way, you need to be this type, you need to be this size, you need to look this way, and do your hair short or long, or it's just it's ridiculous. Society has made people be puppets or manipulating the system and creating so much tension between our own people.
Right.
Like light skin and dark skin. One's jealous, one should be, oh, I'm dark skin, so dark skin can't be with the light skin, and you can't date this, you can't date. What? Shut up. It's like, I don't hold my tongue. I'm like, shut up.
But then I realized that one, the people that are holding those expectations for me are not even holding the same expectations for themselves. Like they can't even live up to what they are projecting. And that is like why I tend to take breaks from social media, because people will say, oh, this person should be doing this, this, and this. Like, you're not even doing that. So how are you putting the expectation onto somebody else? And everyone else is kind of living behind this facade where everyone's just kind of doing the best that they can with what they have. And two, I realized, especially moving into my 40s, I realized a lot of people who tell me what to do are not going to have to deal with the consequences down the line. So the decisions that I make, I have to own, and I tell that to my clients all the time. Like, own your actions, own your emotions. Like, you're the person that's going to have to deal with it. The people that are telling you what to do are not going to have to face the same consequences as you. Like, you're the one that's in it. So if somebody's like, well, you shouldn't like date this person, it's like, well, if I decide not to date them and I lose that person, then I'm the person that has to suffer because of it. If someone is telling me, oh, you need to work this job and not that job, if that job makes me happy, I'm the one that has to go to work every day. That person is going to do their own life. And when that happens, they're living your life and theirs. And that's not fair.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Accountability,
Right.
obedience to ourselves, and I gotta be obedient to him. And sometimes, I stray sometimes, and he'll smack me upside the head real quick and be like, daughter, get back. Okay, you got off track. Let's go. So, yeah.
And that's interesting because the first thing that I mentioned in my book is the key to joy is having a faith source. And for me, that's Jesus Christ, but it could be anything for anybody, but you need a firm foundation, because especially when it comes to mental illness, like, your emotions are changing. Like, they change all the time. They're temporary. And if you go based upon your emotions in a temporary state permanently, you can do a lot of damage. So you want to make sure that you are knowing that your emotions are temporary and they change. And they're not always going to be the same from day to day, but you need a foundation that's like, no matter what you're going through, you can rely on that foundation to keep you grounded.
Amen on that, because our emotions will get us into some trouble. Then you gotta repent, or you might be going to jail, or like, think before, because your emotions will get you into a lot. Check your emotions at the door.
One of the things I tell clients all the time is, like, your feelings are not necessarily facts. Like, your feelings are valid and what you are feeling is your truth, but it may not always be the truth. So you may feel like, oh, I have nothing to like live for, but that is not the truth. Like, you have a purpose. If you are grounded in that purpose, even on the days where it feels like, man, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't feel like I'm making a difference, you know that in the long run, like, you are on this journey that leads you to your purpose. And that's how you stay grounded. And a lot of times with depression will tell you the exact opposite of what is the truth. And it's hard to, if you're not grounded in what you know, it's easy to kind of give in to those feelings. Like, man, I feel worthless, but just because I feel worthless doesn't mean I am worthless. It means that, like, maybe I just feel down in this moment, and knowing that you are worth a lot and you are put here for a purpose. And even though it may be a random Tuesday where you feel bad, like, on Wednesday, your life could change for the better. So you always have to, like, keep yourself grounded. It's almost like in my book, I tell it as being on a roller coaster, right? So the first thing you do on a roller coaster is you strap yourself in and you hold on to the handlebars, right? Because the handlebars keep you grounded no matter how the roller coaster is going, whether you are upside down, what have you, like, like, you are grounded and you're going to get to that other side, right?
Now, how can somebody reach you if, like, do you do Zoom meetings? How you let them know how they could contact you and reach you?
Well, I'm on Instagram at a doc named Nicole, and I am also on Facebook. Facebook, I am Dr. Nicole Ferguson, so you can follow my business page there as well.
Okay. Now, what's next for you? We have this book, but is there another one coming?
I am working on a second book, and that one is more or less tips and tricks that I've learned. But now I'm going to take it a step further and come from a clinical lens. All the stuff that I've learned as a therapist, that is going to be in my next book on kind of how to deal with mental health and being the best you. I'm calling it Confessions of a Warrior right now, because it's really about what I've done, the work that I've done on myself to get me to this point. And I feel like it's important for people to have that information, because not everybody is seeing a therapist. Not everybody can afford a therapist. And if I can give you what I know in a book and it can save somebody's life, then that's my purpose. Right?
Now, listen here. We're going to piggyback real quick. Therapy. In the African American home, we was always taught what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Right.
Wrong. How are we going to heal if we don't talk about it? How are we going to heal if you don't see? Listen here. During my disgusting, nasty divorce, I got therapy. You need it. It's okay. You're getting a perspective for somebody who don't know you, not your girls, not your boys, not someone who does not know you. They can hear you clearly and not be a yes sir, yes ma'am type. The simple fact is, it's okay to get therapy. Listen, it helps. Ooh, and it frees you.
Yes.
Ooh. And I love to write, as you know. Mm-hmm. And all y'all know with 7 books. Boop, boop. But it's good to sit with someone and talk with them.
Right.
I forgot, how did we meet? We met at First Calvary, right? Not First Calvary.
We met at Tops.
Wrong. Tops. Everybody goes to Tabernacle of Praise. We call it TOP. T-O-P. We shorten it up, but it's dope. Our pastor's dope. So yes. So that's how we met. And then I found out she was an author. I was like, okay, let's go.
And we got the same last name.
Yeah. First name. Yep. Well, not the last name. You know, her husband's her husband. Husband. Look, I'm happily single.
We got the same first name. This is cool.
So, we got a book coming out from her. Okay, another one. Now, how can they find this book?
That is on Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble. So you can always find it online, Amazon.com. I have Kindle. I have audiobook. So for those of you who don't want to sit and read, want to listen to it in the car, you can always get the audio version of it as well.
All right. Now, what else do you do in your time to yourself?
Some of that is going to be in the next book, but I will share that the one thing outside of prayer and staying grounded in faith is mindfulness. A lot of people who are dealing with depression, they tend to live in the past. People with anxiety tend to live in the future. What no one is doing is living in the present, which is the only moment that we have. Staying in the present makes you kind of calm your nervous system, because even though you don't realize it, you're still doing the whole fight or flight response. If you're worried about things that have not occurred, your body does not know the difference between something that you are perceiving in your mind and something that is actually happening. It also doesn't know the difference between you worrying about work tomorrow and you being chased by a bear. Like, the body has the same physiological response. So sometimes I have to be still and let myself know, like, okay, in this moment, what do I need to do to take care of myself? And that has helped. It has also helped in being a therapist, because if you are not grounded, if you are not mindful of the present moment, a lot of the things that you deal with in your day-to-day interactions, like a lot of the crises, a lot of the trauma that you are trying to heal, it can really overtake you. So in this, you have to be like, in this moment, like I'm calm. In this moment, all is well. I do a lot of grounding exercises through my senses, like taking in like 5 things I can see, 4 things that I can touch, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, 1 thing I remember tasting. And it brings your body back to say, like, in this moment, I am okay. In this moment, I am safe. In this moment, like, what do I need to take care of myself? Because if I'm worried about work tomorrow and I'm not there yet, I'm already stressing out. So that's kind of helped me a lot too.
Okay. So now I'm going to switch it up. Name 5 fun facts about you.
Oh, wow. I'm from Buffalo, born and raised. But my favorite place is New York City.
Okay. Y'all already know.
It's like my second home. Like, I love it there. Third thing is, you already know I'm on in Buffalo. I'm probably one of the 3% of people that have a doctorate, African American. I was the first African American to graduate from my program in health communication at George Mason University.
Okay.
So I made history there. I don't know if it's that. I've been married for 6 years now. We were together for 12, and we've known each other for 31 years. We met in 2nd grade.
Oh,
so we went to elementary school
that's
together.
So cute.
Yeah.
That's that childhood.
Yeah,
Childhood. Woo, girl.
It's so weird,
Okay.
like, because his family saw me grow up, and it's like, okay, now we're like...
Yeah. Now, what is your 5-year plan? What do you see your 5 years now from here?
5 years from now, I definitely am working towards licensure in New York and hopefully licensure in other states. My plan is definitely to either still be in private group practice, maybe still writing, still doing books. Before COVID, I did a lot of community events, a lot of speaking engagements. I still do some now, but I would really like to get back into that a lot more.
Okay.
So I do churches, organizations, sororities and fraternities. Like, I'm just everybody who kind of needs to hear about mental health, especially in our community. I want to normalize therapy, and that's really why I like also working with kids, because they're like so excited about therapy. It's like, okay, I'm going to a therapist. Like, cool. Like, they see it as a necessity. Whereas with us adults, like you said, we have that stigma, and trying to break down that stigma and just kind of save people one life at a time is really my 5-year plan. So hopefully 5 years from now I'll be on Oprah or something. But
Listen, we speak it to an existence. Look, 5 years from now, I want to have my own talk show, live on the land in a nice hot weather location.
Right.
With my, with just want my business and career to soar the rocket ship, because, God already said, this is our season for takeoff, accelerating.
Right.
So let's talk about this. The massacre that we had in Buffalo.
Yeah.
We were a part of it because we live here.
Mm-hmm.
How many people reached out for therapy with you after that?
It's hard to say, because even with the clients I was seeing, it was a reoccurring theme of everyone that came to therapy had concerns about what happened. And it was similar concerns. Like, I'm anxious about going grocery shopping. I'm anxious about the state of the world and racism. I'm worried about my kids or my spouse. And it was scary, because it was something that we see on television play out, but it was so close to home where it's like, this isn't supposed to happen.
Buffalo.
Yeah, it's Buffalo, and because we're such a small city, and everyone is so close, especially within the Black community, it was especially difficult because everyone was connected to someone that was related to the people in the shooting or people who unfortunately passed away. So wherever I went, like when I was counseling like kids or seeing clients or even being on AM Buffalo, they had invited me in to speak about trauma and things of that nature. It was very difficult just trying to, as a therapist and even talking to other therapists, it was difficult trying to get ourselves emotionally okay so that we can help other people. Because some of us were dealing with people who was in the top shooting that they lost, like someone who was a cousin of someone I knew. People went to church with them. You know, it was so hard because even just going to that grocery store, like I remember growing up, that was my old neighborhood. I remember we had to petition to get that top tier because we had no other supermarket. It was a food desert. So I remember going there a lot. You know, my family shopped there a lot. And even remember the security guard talking to him, and it was just sad to see that could like all be taken away in a moment's notice, and someone would be so cruel to do that and to inflict so much harm upon people. And for me, as a therapist who was a lot about empowerment, for me it was more or less validating people's emotions in that moment, but also empowering them that, you know, just because there are some people who don't like you does not mean that you are unlovable. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. Like just kind of reaffirming self and seeing the sense of community and focusing on the people who gathered together and the people who came out in droves to help so that you don't get lost in that kind of sense of hopelessness that events like this kind of breed.
Yeah, when I used to go to First Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, up the street is Tops.
Right.
So after service, we stop there, pick up the little necessary things to have dinner, to cook dinner when I get home. And one of the seniors that lost her life that day was part of churches that we would visit. And you see them, and yeah, like you said, it's a close-knit African-American community because that is the only grocery store in that location. Right. So when that got shut down for the investigation, and my boss's son was on the DA case for this. So just to hear how it was inside Aftermath when they had to investigate, take pictures, and nobody could touch the crime scene. It was sad. It was heartbreaking just hearing and just knowing that now the community had to take buses or carpool to go 15 minutes away?
Yeah,
this was the only grocery store. This is the only grocery store on Jefferson in that facility, in that area. So we always see hate crimes. We are always the victim of this. But to come in your own backyard, I've been up here in Buffalo 18 years now. Mm-hmm. It was mind blowing. Right. It's like, say what now? Right. Then I'm calling my kids, making sure they're nowhere around because my middle son, Jalen, he's a junior deacon. And senior year, you got to do your community service. Where else is he going? Jefferson First Calvary to go and do his community service as a junior deacon. So I'm like, stay off there, go back home, don't even go. I was like, are you there? And he was like, no, I'm not. I was like, I don't want to stay home. Just stay home. Because now we on red alert. Because we're like, okay, if somebody drove him, drop him off, where's the rest of them?
I mean, this is the hard truths of the society we live in, is that their racial trauma really runs deep. and just growing up, and even the slightest thing, like there's no supermarket in my area. I have to go outside of my area to go to a supermarket. I have to petition to go someplace to shop, and then seeing other areas where there is a supermarket on almost every corner.
Yeah.
So these are things that people subconsciously in our community may think, okay, well, maybe I'm not worthy of having the best of the best. Maybe people don't really care about me. And that's the thing that I strive to change, because as being a member of that community, someone who grew up on the east side of Buffalo, I had some of the most awesome neighbors. My childhood was amazing. Like the families that were across the street from my grandparents growing up, my grandparents were there for like 50 years, So we're like family. I see people I grew up with, and we're still close. They'll come to the weddings, funerals with us. They're just great people, and to know that they could have been in danger because someone didn't like them, because someone wants to do harm to people who are just trying to live their lives. It's like that makes me even more so want to empower the community. A lot of people that I serve, clients, are part of our community, and I want them to know, like, therapy is easily accessible. I want to make it more affordable, but the reason why I went back and got another degree to do therapy is because people kept asking me, like, can I come see you? And I'm like, I'm not a therapist. But there's hardly any clinicians of color, right? If you go to psychology today and you look for a therapist, and then you go and you do the filter and you're like, I want someone who is African American in this area, you'll see about 5-6 of us maybe. And I'm like, that has to change, because people relate to people who look like them, who have been through the same thing. So even when clients come and say, you know what, I don't feel safe in my neighborhood, I'm like, listen, I completely understand. We are going through the same thing. Here's how I deal. Here's some tips for how you can deal as well. The toughest part for me in all of that was kind of trying to talk to kids, because I'm talking to kids who are like 5 and 6 years old, who are like, I don't know if I want to go back in the grocery store, or like, I'm scared to go to school because what if they come and something happens there? And you really have to like validate their emotions, be like, listen, like, I am scared too, but I'm here for you and I will protect you. And if you're with me and you're in my presence, just know that you are safe. Like, I will not let anything happen to you. And those kids were like really relieved that some adult was able to kind of empathize with them and say, like, okay, you know what? You're not making things up. The world is very difficult right now. And what you need is a safe place, a safe person to talk to. And that's what I try to make my therapy room, like a safe place where you can just come and just be. Because so many of us are in survival mode because of that racial trauma, because of generational trauma. We don't have a place to just be. And I always ask clients, like, what would happen if you were just allowed to just sit back and just be? What if somebody listened to what you went through and actually validated that and actually gave you the space to process it and to move through it and heal at your own pace and not rush you through it and say, well, you shouldn't feel this way, or we just got to keep going. Like, people need that space to heal.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to provide.
We do. Because we could walk into the same store with the Caucasian and we get looked at, we get followed first. Or we're being pulled over because after a certain hour, why are you on the street? And why it's like lights is shine on you. Things of that nature. It's disgusting. Like, we all bleed the same color.
Right.
Just because our skin is a different color, we shouldn't have to endure it, but we are enduring it. We are fed up. We're tired. But we're the ones that they feel threatened of. You massacring us. We're the ones that are threatened. We're the ones that don't feel safe.
it's scary when you don't feel safe or just existing and being who you are. And that is something that is difficult to kind of accept, but I also want people to know that there is nothing wrong with you for being who you are. Who you are is unique. Who you are is precious. It's something that is so difficult for us as humans to kind of accept each other's differences, but there are more similarities than differences amongst us, you know? And for most of us, like, we just want to love the people we love. We want to live our lives. We want to accomplish our goals. And you have to see people as the human beings that they are. And this is one of the tough times where someone who did not see that took action, and it hurt deeply an entire community, an entire city. And the good thing about being in Buffalo is in the aftermath, you see the people who are like, we got to band together as a city. The whole Buffalo Strong thing happened. Channel 7, I mean, I have to definitely give a shout out to Ed Ranch, because he definitely was not even reporting that day. And he decided on his own to go to the tops to talk to people about what happened, because he felt like he needed to do something to be of service to the community.
Yeah. See, we step up.
Yeah.
We step up.
And that was tremendous. It meant a lot.
Yeah. So, we're going to change the subject now, because this hits home for us, you know?
It definitely does.
So, again, you can find it on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon,
Yep.
Kindle.
Yep.
Listen.
Audio.
Okay.
You're driving in your car and you want to listen.
Tell them again how to find you.
A doc named Nicole on Instagram, on Dr. Nicole Ferguson on Facebook. You can follow me on my business page. I post a lot of inspirational stuff. I know a lot of social media isn't as inspirational now, so I try to be that person who's like, hey, if you're getting on Facebook today, let's not compare yourself to other people's like highlight reels. Let's actually make something like inspirational or encouraging to get you through your day.
You know, I stay doing that. I'm like, look at here. People be like, how do you post?
Yeah.
You know, people be like, how do you post so fast? I'm like, because I already have it set up. I just need to get on the hashtag real quick, and then do the next one. Then I got to go do my job, my 9 to 5. Then after my 9 to 5, then I'm back to. People was like, yo, are you working? I says, yes, there's a timer. If y'all pay attention, you can have set times on Facebook to release what you need to release.
Right, you can't do that.
Come on, people. Get with the times. But yeah, so much negativity going on, social media and everything else. We got to do positive. We have to uplift. That's why we have Celebrating Life with Sunshine.
I try to do the positivity thing, and I also try to do, I don't like the toxic positivity thing, like, oh, just get over it kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I hate that. Don't tell me to just get over it.
Right.
Don't do that, because that'll, yeah, don't do it.
So I try to validate people's feelings, like, hey, if you're having a rough day, you're not the only person having a rough day. Like, here's how you can manage this, and this. And it's very encouraging to kind of get messages from people like, you know, you really uplifted my day, or you're the only person that on my timeline that posts positive things to get me through. People who have messaged me and said, like, my book has changed their lives. I have a lot of clients who are like, you know what, I couldn't have gotten through this without you. So I often feel like there is a huge purpose in what I do, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that God has given me. Like, for every client, I'm like, you know, thank you, God, for allowing me to insert myself into their journey, and to just kind of walk with them until they get to the other side of healing, whatever that looks like. So it's really a humbling experience, to be able to impact lives, and to have that kind of purpose, which I don't take lightly at all.
Okay. So leave them with something. What would you like to leave them with?
Oh, wow. I guess I would leave you with the thought to live intentionally. Live with purpose and for purpose. To know that you are designed for a purpose in this time. And it is your calling to walk it out. Whatever your passion is, that is what you do. So if your passion is to uplift people, that is your purpose. And don't take it lightly, because you may be the person that someone else needs to change their life. Like, you are that impactful. So trust your instincts and live well, but live with intention. Do things intentionally. And I think you'll notice a difference in your life.
Y'all heard it here. You know? So we thank you for tuning in. If you have not already, go to YouTube page and type in Celebrating Life with Sunshine and subscribe to our YouTube page, because everything that is on Instagram will be put onto YouTube, and then deleted from here. Thank you for tuning in. And again, you can reach out to Nicole. She does Zoom, right? Zoom therapy.
Well, I am at Renovated Soul. So if you look on Psychology Today, you can find me. You can call the office and ask to book with me. Yes, I do telehealth and in-person sessions. So
okay.
If you want to, I do empowerment. I do grief and loss therapy, self-esteem, depression, anxiety. I see kids, adults, couples. So whatever your needs are, just reach out to us, and we'll be glad to help.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. We love you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. Internationally known.